to day one of Epic Week. I'm so excited to be here. I am joined today by our Director of Client Performance, Carla Alicea.
Hello, everyone.
And this, to me, is my favorite week of the entire year. Carla, this is your first Epic.
Yes, it is. I'm so excited.
Yes, so we're going to have a lot of fun this week. Each day, we're going to be bringing you a new video all about Epic. Today's video is about Epic Basics. So let's just kind of lay the groundwork, get a good foundation for the rest of the week. So I'm going to throw out a question to all of you who are watching today. Let's say you are going to order dinner tonight. Would you rather know the health and safety grade of the restaurant before you order or after? You get your food, you're ready to go, and you find out this restaurant has a C grade. So what about you, Carla? Before or after?
Oh, before. Hands down before.
Yeah,
I've walked out of a restaurant before with a grumbly tummy and noticed that grade too late, and I won't make that mistake again.
I know. And so we think that that's sort of what happens with our Epic Index, is that we help give renters a heads up as to what the overall performance, resident experience is like before they make that commitment and are locked into 12 months for many.
You know, one thing that I absolutely love about our Epic grade and the Epic Index is, well, first of all, it is a single performance metric. So it is apples for apples. Every management company and community that is represented on Apartment Ratings with an Epic grade, we're comparing the same thing. And that data that we're getting, that's our data. We know where that data is coming from. It's trusted. We are not using third-party data. We're not scraping other sites. We're not accepting APIs that can easily be manipulated. So that really evens out that playing field. It's also very actionable. You'll see that in a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about how you can take a lot of action on the data that you get back from the Epic grade. But my absolute most favorite part about the Epic grade is that it only looks at the last 365 days of reviews that were posted on Apartment Ratings, because we know that that's what renters want, right? We've done a lot of renter research before developing this index, and everything that we developed was guided by their feedback. And we know that renters want to see reviews and score that is how that apartment community is being managed now. Not what it was like 3 years ago or 5 years ago, like other indexes and scores out there online. This is just looking at that 365 days. Every 365 days, you have that opportunity to completely transform that Epic grade. And it doesn't take much. So we're going to go into more detail about that. So when we're thinking about the Epic grade, it's very balanced. So it's just like when you're in school, right? You didn't just get a grade on one test, right? It was spread out. And that's how the Epic grade is as well. There are actually 4 components, and they're weighted, that make up the Epic grade. Now, first and foremost, it's that renter rating. That is a large portion of the component that goes into your Epic grade. And that is how are renters judging you? How are they rating you? And it's not just a 5-star rating that's very subjective. There are very specific categories that they're rating you on that matter to renters, right? Because have you ever gone on, say, Grubhub, and you were looking for a 5-star meal, and McDonald's popped into the top? Yeah, well, that's what happens when there's only one rating scale in which to rate a business or a service. In multifamily, when we're thinking about what renters want, right? We know what they value. You know, they value maintenance. They value that office staff. We're going to talk a little bit about how all of that wisdom of the crowd comes together for that overall renter rating. But then we look at review count, okay? Review count is talking about how many reviews compile those ratings. If it's just 1 or 2 people, that might not mean much, right? Maybe it's a 5-star, maybe it's a 2-star, but you only had 1 or 2 reviews contributing to that. That's not that social proof that renters are looking for. They really want to see a certain volume of reviews coming to that platform and making up that renter rating. That's kind of the overall, how do renters rate you, that social proof, that wisdom of the crowd. Then we move over to what you have a full and complete control over, which is your response strategy. Now we know, and we're going to share some research, that renters want to see management responses. So just by posting a response, you're going to hit an A plus in that review engagement category. This is the perception of customer service. Do you care enough to respond to those online reviews? And then the reply time, because right when someone's thinking about when they're going to move into a new community and they think, oh, something's going to happen, right? Because people live where we work and something's going to happen. They want to know, how quickly are you going to respond to them? So when they see your response on an online review, and they see that reply time, they're making a perception of how quickly are you going to respond to them if they move in. So those are the 4 components. And here are the weights: 40% for your renter rating, 30% for that review count, and then your response strategy, 20% just by posting a response. And if you can post that response quickly, you're going to get that extra 10%. So that's how your grade is weighted when it comes to that overall EPIC grade.
Yeah, and it tells a full story, right?
It
I
really
think,
does.
Carla, one of the great points that you made was, for a lot of on-site teams, they weren't necessarily at their community 3 years ago.
No.
5 years ago.
Mhm.
There may be some management companies that have taken over communities and have really turned them around.
Mhm.
Yet they're still sort of being bogged down by the negative reviews from who knows how long, right? And
Mhm.
and two, over time, the reviews do lose their weight in terms of the calculation, but the perception is still there for someone who is potentially looking at a community. So
Mhm.
that rolling 365 is huge when it comes to the EPIC index. So Carla mentioned 4 components of the EPIC index. I'm going to talk about the renter rating and the review count, which is the wisdom of the crowd and that social proof that Carla mentioned. Your renter rating is made up of the reviews that have posted to apartment ratings in the last 365 days, and also the scores that you receive for any of your satisfact surveys. And that would be your tour survey, which is called unclosed traffic, your move-in survey, your work order or maintenance survey, and then finally the resident survey, which is our pre-renewal survey. So our main 4 satisfact surveys also feed in to your renter rating for your EPIC index. The review count is a bit tricky, but if any of you back in the day in school were ever graded on a bell curve, that's exactly what we do. So the bell curve, it is subject to change at any time, but what you want to concentrate on is that 95th percentile. Right now today, about 7% of your total unit count in terms of number of reviews, 7 to 15%. So for every 100 units at your community, you want to have between 7 and 15 reviews. So if you're 200 units, that would be 14 to 30, and so on and so on. The larger the number, the worse my math gets. So I will stop it right there. But you, in order to earn that A minus to an A plus grade for that component, A minus is about 7%. A plus is going to be about 15% and obviously more. Now, when the majority of communities start to get closer to that 15%, the bell's going to shift, right? That 95th percentile is going to change. But right now, today, if you want an A plus grade for your review count, shoot for 15%.
Yeah, good goal. Set that goal and then track it. A year, not a month.
Yes.
We're not turning over tables every hour like a restaurant, and we're not turning over our rooms every day like a hotel. So we don't need a lot of reviews to move the needle.
Good
Um,
point.
Back to when we're talking about responding. So here's that research. We do a online renter study every 2 years and have been since 2011. So we've been interacting with renters and asking them what they want and what they think for a really long time. And this data consistently has been telling us that renters like to see responses to online reviews. Not only if you look at the top two in both sections, what does it make you feel like when a manager responds to review? What does it make you feel like when they don't respond to a review? It's saying, one, it makes us think that you have great customer service. When you respond to that review, we perceive that customer service much higher than when we don't see a response to a review at all. Then on top of that, it's that ultimate empathy. They really feel like you care. People are craving that human interaction. And we're seeing that here because 71.9% of residents say that when they see a response from management, it makes them feel like you truly care. So when you're responding, don't just give lip service to that review. Consider what the review said. Respond to the specific review. Keep in mind the audiences that you're responding for. You're responding to not just the person who wrote the review, but all of your prospects who are reading those reviews and your responses. How do you want to be seen by them when they're trying to make that ultimate decision, that one apartment community they're going to choose and sign a lease at?
Yeah,
And
I
I think,
think that's a great point because, they don't know you yet, right? A
mhm,
prospect doesn't know how you care about your residents, how, you really have that empathy that Carla's talking about. And so they believe that they get a sense of that by the words, the
mhm.
quality of your responses. So if your responses are just sort of boilerplate, copy, paste, what does that say about your level of care for your residents? Something to think about.
And then when we think about responding, not only are they reading your words, right? And they're taking out of that your commitment to customer service, your care, your attention, and your empathy. They're also gauging that response time. If I call with an urgent matter, how quickly are they going to get back to me? So we've done the research and renters have basically told us they want to see responses within 2 days. That's not 2 business days. That's 2 days.
Yeah, and we know, there's holidays, there's
Mhm,
weekends, there are times when, a review may come in and your office is closed. So, there's a cushion that's built in, right? You can go
mhm.
up to 4 days and still get an A minus. But to Carla's point, if you create a really sound response strategy, the majority of your reviews, you can knock them out within 2 calendar days for sure. Yeah, so Epic, we know, is public facing. Again, going back to the would you rather when we're talking about a restaurant. So Epic really is to help renters make the best decisions possible for them. One of the biggest, things that I feel like contributes to resident attrition is buyer's remorse. So you have, renters who look for a home, they put in a lot of time and energy. It's not an easy decision. And so they finally make that commitment. When the commitment is backed up by a great experience, right? That decision, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I picked this place. You got your resident. You have them telling great stories. You have them wanting to be engaged, wanting to be a part of the community. when the decision sort of backfires on them and perception does not meet reality, or what they saw online does not really live up to the hype, you're going to have residents that are at the first opportunity, they're going to be telling other people that this didn't go so well. They're going to be talking about the regret that they have. You might even plant seeds of your competitors. Why didn't I pick the other place? Which just makes it so much more difficult at time of renewal. So knowing that Epic is public facing, here are some of the things that the public's going to see. On Apartment Ratings, you have a company page. So all of the community Epic grades are put right out under the company umbrella. The company has its own Epic grade as well, which is made up of all of the individual communities that have a grade as well on Apartment Ratings. You're also going to be able to see the overall rank. How does this company rank across the nation compared to other companies that have an Epic index? And then to make things fair, as Carla mentioned, it's that apples to apples when we're talking about Epic. We've broken down portfolio size groups. So we have a 1 to 9 group, so 1 to 9 communities, 10 to 24 communities, and then a 25 and up. Again, just to sort of make things as fair as possible when we're talking about the Epic Index. Now, within each community, you have something very similar. You also have the national ranking for the community across all other communities on Apartment Ratings that have an Epic grade. You have that city rank. We're going to talk this week about some things that you can do with that city rank. And a brand new feature. We didn't have this, 2 weeks ago, Carla?
Just
it's
came out.
brand new. We now have your state rankings. So you know how in college you can be the best in the state or number one in the state. Great to be number one in your city, right? But what a pat on the back to be number one in the entire state, or top 10 in the entire
Really?
state.
Yeah.
I'll take
Absolutely.
top 50 in the entire state, depending on how large and how many apartment communities are in your state.
Absolutely. So that concludes today, day one, where we talked about Epic basics. But now it's time to have a little bit of fun. So we're going to do a contest. So what we want to do is see you guys participate. For day one contest, what we want you to do is take a look at your team and find that Epic ambassador, right? That person on your team who lives and breathes all of those components that we talked about, that elevated performance. They come into the office, they're ready to serve, they want to go above and beyond. Just checking the box isn't enough for them. They want to make sure that the residents are having the best experience possible, and they are showing up with their A game every day. So who's that Epic ambassador on your team? Once you identify who they are, why don't you do a shout out for them on social, either Facebook or Instagram? Go ahead and post maybe a picture of them along with a little comment about why they are your Epic ambassador. And make sure to use the hashtag Epic Ambassador and tag us either at Satisfax Education for Instagram or at Satisfax for Facebook to be entered into the day one contest. We cannot wait to see all of our Epic ambassadors online. We cannot wait to read their stories and share their stories with the multifamily community. So we do hope that you'll participate in the contest and get entered to win a gift card.
And you might have a couple. You may want to shout out multiple people. Maybe your entire team can be considered an Epic ambassador. So I, for one, cannot wait to see the shout outs, the stories, and the pictures, and
Yes.
the photos of your team members.
And Leah, we talk a lot about employee experience. We really truly believe that when you're trying to create that wonderful experience for your residents, really does start with that employee experience.
Yeah.
And recognition is one of the biggest elements that we have to make sure that our team members and our employees feel valued, feel recognized, and feel appreciated. So I can't wait to see all those shout outs. And guys, we are at the end of our day 1 video. So check the box next to Epic Basics. Tomorrow, our video is going to talk all about the frequently asked questions about Epic, and Leah's going to come with all the answers. So we hope you'll join in for tomorrow's video, and we'll see you then.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.